My body won't let me have sex, and when I do, it's like someone's stabbing me.
It's taken over my marriage. It has taken over my ability to choose when I want to have children.
Vaginismus is one of the few remaining sexual taboos, and it destroys people's lives. It's really normal to be worried about first-time sex, and we've probably all experienced it. But women with vaginismus can live with that for a lifetime. So vaginismus is an involuntary contraction of the pelvic floor. That makes it sound quite simple, but in reality for many women it's actually a life-changing condition. A lot of women will describe it as feeling like there's a cheese grater, or they're actually being cut, or there's needles pricking into the skin.
We live in such a culture of virginity being this big thing. I actually went to a church school. Women can't get pleasure from sex at all. This is what I was taught. It can either result in just a bloody, painful mess, pregnancy, or STDs. I was always taught that losing your virginity was gonna hurt. It felt actually like a barrier. It feels like getting a knife and inserting it and twisting it around your vagina. It's really painful. When I first realised that something wasn't right with my vagina, I did find it incredibly infantilizing. Almost like I hadn't really made the transition from girl to woman. Actually, since coming out and saying I do have this disorder, I've spoken to countless people who also suffer from it. And it's almost as if we've all had one experience, and that's the feelings of loneliness, the kind of feelings of I don't feel like I can talk to anyone. So yeah, I strongly believe that people should be growing up and knowing that this is something that can develop in anyone.
Vaginismus is part of the classification of sexual pain disorders. Sexual pain disorders have a prevalence, if you look at a population study, of over 7%. However, if you look at different stages in women's lives, so early on in starting to have sex, you are more likely to have some pain. That may go as high as 20%. Sex is complicated. Sex is not all physical. It would be relatively easy medicine if it was. But we all have our own perceptions, what we've been brought up with, what we believe ourselves, our own sexual experiences that form how we feel about sex. I get asked a lot if I think that people have issues with vaginismus because of a religious upbringing. There is no doubt that that plays a part. I think there are some people who can grow up in that type of setting and have absolutely no problems, and there are other people who are more like sponges really and pick up all those cues and all those comments. One is that sex will be very painful on your wedding night, and we'd like to see that some blood has been passed to demonstrate virginity.
I think that was probably one of the things that got me very, very scared about sex. So I come from a Muslim background, even though I didn't really have to show it when it was my time to get married. But I think that growing up, that was always at the back of my mind. So my wedding night was very, we were always so very close, so there wasn't any problem with like intimacy or anything like that at all. But you just feel like your body's shutting down, so you literally can't even open your legs because it feels really, really, really scary. But I think personally, I felt like it was a burning pain, like it was literally muscle tightening. It's hard to talk about it because people don't understand it. They would think that I'm either overreacting or I'm making it up.
Vaginismus is eminently curable. So I get them to use their thumb and to massage the pelvic floor. And often what happens is when they start just massaging and not trying to put anything in, that the pelvic floor starts to relax because they become more comfortable, where they realise that their vagina is capacious enough to have sex.
I've been married for about more than 5 years, and I think I'm getting better, yeah. And then you're given the trainers and through the psychosexual therapy, the trainer was, I was able to use the trainers, and I still am. They're called dilators, but they're different sizes. So you go from the smallest to the biggest. And you get to the big one, that's when you can essentially go into intercourse. But they're certainly not easy to use at all, because they're not comfortable.
I mean, I have made actually a significant amount of progress. I mean, I still find it difficult to have penetrative sex, very difficult. So I'm using things like tampons and kind of small, sorry mum and dad, small sex toys to kind of help with insertion.
I'm really delighted that people are more confident to come forward now, but we do have issues with commissioning of psychosexual clinics nationally, and there are many that have been closed because the local authorities are not providing services. What I would like to see is all healthcare professionals who could possibly see patients with sexual problems feeling much more relaxed and happy to talk about sex. When we looked at whether or not doctors and medical students wanted more training, 100% of medical students wanted more training and 98% of gynecologists wanted more training. Whereas in reality only 13% of gynecologists thought their training was adequate.
I just at the moment I just want to be able to just get over it and put it behind me and just kind of forget about it and just feel like normal in a way, and yes, and just and then from there be able to have what I think in terms of having children. For I want to be able to have the choice to choose when I want to have children and when I don't, rather than my body telling me actually you're not going to anytime soon.
I want to have penetrative sex that I actually enjoy. I want to be able to kind of walk around with a tampon in while I'm on my period, just like any other person. I want to be able to go to my first pap smear when I'm 25 and not see it as this huge deal or huge something that I should be really, really scared about. And I think it's just, for me, it's small goals that I'm working towards, and I can see myself continuing to work to those small goals in the future.